Well, at least the debate is over. Anybody that watches this channel regularly will know that we were having a conversation very recently about whether it is a crisis for Liverpool. I was suggesting that maybe it's not yet a crisis. I was suggesting that it can be seen as many different things. I said that the road to crisis is a long and convoluted one. It takes a long time to get to a crisis. It's very difficult to go from being champions to being in a crisis. I suggested that the journey went something along the lines of, you're in a blip, then you're in a slump, then you're in a crisis. And even if that is true, even if I am completely and utterly correct on that, this is now crisis-like for Liverpool. Their season, on some definition, hangs by a thread. Now look, I still, perhaps am in the minority and perhaps I'm wrong, I still believe that this team possesses the quality to bounce back. I still believe that Arne Slot possesses the wherewithal and the ingenuity and the bravery and the mentality to bounce back. But there is no doubt about it that what is going on at Liverpool at the moment, losing 3-0 at home to Crystal Palace, is nothing short of a disaster. Now look, I know that Liverpool played a rested team. I know that Liverpool rotated hugely. I know that they aren't taking this competition seriously. And on some definition, I think you could suggest that going out of this competition isn't the end of the world. But I'm afraid you cannot put a positive spin on this. I think anybody that watches this channel regularly, I was arguing that the best thing for Arsenal would be to get launched out of this cup. Arsenal don't need this trophy. Arsenal need to wholeheartedly focus on the league. It isn't the same for Liverpool. Liverpool need a win. They just need a win. They need to learn how to win again. They need to learn how to love again. They need to learn how to play again. And I know that this was a desperately weakened side. But the statement that has been put out there is that they've just been beaten at home. Massively beaten at home. In a competition where they have a proud record. You cannot lose in the manner that they lost tonight. It really is such a bad defeat. This is the first time that even I'm looking at it going, what is going on? This is bad. Like, this is really bad. Not scoring, conceding 3, so easy to score against. It's just simply not good enough. And since the 27th of September, Liverpool have lost more games than any other side in Europe's Big 5 leagues. In all competitions. I'm afraid that it just confirms it. This is undoubtedly a crisis for Liverpool. I mean, you could perhaps say that going out of this competition is good news. They don't really need it. They don't really need a distraction of it. They don't really need the focus of it. But you just can't go out of a competition in this manner, in this way. Crystal Palace going through to a quarter-final at the expense of Liverpool, it's not that much of a shock. Crystal Palace are a fine team, a fine cup team. But it's the nature of it. It's the nature of the defeat. It's the way that it happened. You simply cannot get beaten up in the way that they did. You cannot get walloped in the way that they did. Arne Slot, what are you doing? Arne Slot needs to surely find a way to win games of football. And the way that you win games of football is not by playing such a weakened side. This Liverpool team need to find winners again. You cannot have a system where you are experimenting. You cannot throw a cup tie. You cannot. The symbolic nature of a victory is just so bad. And Charlie Knight is in the super chat, unsurprisingly. Charlie Knight likes to turn up when things are going well for Arsenal, when they are most certainly going well for Arsenal. Charlie Knight has said Arsenal are winning the FA Cup, the League Cup and the Premier League this season. The domestic treble is on the cards in Charlie's opinion. Now, can I tell you something, Charlie? I genuinely mean this. I don't think Arsenal needed a distraction of a League Cup. I really don't. I think that the league is there for your taking. The Premier League title is waiting for Arsenal. Arsenal do not need to be concerned about a two-legged semi-final in February when they are focusing on the league. I'm being really serious here. Anyone that watches me talk about football regularly will know that I never ever disregard silverware. I never ever sneer at silverware. And I think people who do not rate this competition are dumb. Winning this competition is amazing. Winning this competition is historic. But not for Arsenal. Arsenal don't need it. Arsenal can and should now win the Premier League. Arsenal are now favourites for the Premier League. They really do not need a distraction. Imagine they end up playing Tottenham Hotspur home and away in the semi-final of the League Cup. Injuries, suspensions, aggravation. You drop points in the league off the back of that. Do you really need that? Is it worth it? Surely just focusing on the league is what Arsenal need now. And look, Arsenal, they were convincing tonight. Unsurprisingly, yet again, they were convincing. And they did it in the way that Liverpool wanted to. You know, They rested players. You see Mosquera starting. You see Arrizabalaga starting. You see Ben White starting. They're doing it in a different way, but they can rest players and win. Whereas Liverpool cannot rest players and win. Liverpool can't stay at their first team and win. So I think Arne Slot got this wrong tonight. I think they did. I don't think Liverpool need the distraction of this competition, but this competition on some level was a gift to Liverpool. It was a gift because they could find a winner again. It's so bad. Luke in the Super Chat says, we shouldn't have won our first 5 all late goals. I mean, you should have. You should have, mate. You needed to win those games. Where would you be without those victories? The fact that you can still win the league title is because of those victories. And you can still win the league title. I'm not saying you will. I'm talking about, you're what? 7 points behind? 7 points behind, but it's just going to grow. It's now getting to the stage where every single time Liverpool kick a ball, it is looking like they are going to get beat. Like, when you predict Liverpool results now, whatever you think, can anyone see Liverpool beating Villa? Villa found form. Unai Emery worked out a solution. Yeah, it's difficult. Hey, Pezza says, do you still think Arsenal need to go out, even when they can fully rotate like this? The problem is, Pezza, what do you think? Look, I only give my opinions. This is why I love these chats. This is why I love our conversation. This is why I love being educated by you. The reason why I think Arsenal don't need a distraction like this is because ultimately, in a semi-final playing Tottenham, in a semi-final playing Man City, in a semi-final playing Chelsea, home and away, you probably don't rotate. You probably can't get away with rotating to that degree. So you will have to start your first team. Also, it becomes a semi-final. So then you really want to win it. You know, it's very unlikely that if you were playing at Stamford Bridge in a second leg of a semi-final, that Norgard's going to be in your midfield, isn't it? It's very unlikely that Max Dowman is going to start in a semi-final at Stamford Bridge, in a semi-final at White Hart Lane, in a semi-final at the Etihad. But if you can rotate and win, I guess, if you can rotate and win, yes. But it is still a distraction. Mate, I assume that you're an Arsenal fan here, right? What do you think? You tell me, Pezza. You know, I'm inclined to say that Arsenal could do without a distraction of this, could do without a distraction of the FA Cup even. And I don't want this to be repositioned as me suggesting that the FA Cup is meaningless, or me suggesting that the FA Cup doesn't carry a huge amount of significance. It does. I'm talking in a very specific example for Arsenal Football Club, who are the best team in the country at the moment. Do they need it? Do they need an FA Cup? If Arteta wins the FA Cup, does that change the trajectory that he's on? I would argue yes, but I think the world would argue no. They can win the league. Can you imagine if Arsenal win the league? And look, if you can marry up a double, if you can marry it up with an FA Cup or a League Cup, great. But I feel like Arsenal are in the driving seat for 2 of the most significant trophies that they could possibly win. One of those trophies they have never won. Why would you risk it? Why do you need the fixture congestion? But let me know your thoughts. That is why I love these lives. That is why I love your thoughts on it. Please do me a favour, by the way. If you're enjoying this video, even 1%, just a little bit, will you please give it a like? It really helps me out if you would like the stream. Thank you so much. Just click like. And if you're new around here, by the way, I love going live like this, so please do click subscribe. Really do enjoy flexing our analytical football muscle like this. In the Super Chat next is Reese K, who says, Arne Slot is a good tactician, but do you think they need a better man manager like Klopp, especially after Jota? I think Arne Slot demonstrated last year that not only was he an excellent tactician, but he was also an excellent man manager. If you think of the way that he helped Mohamed Salah elevate to a level that we didn't really think were possible. If you think about Mohamed Salah last season, he played the best football of his career. He was the best he has ever been. Mohamed Salah last year probably put in a performance that is comparable to the very best that he ever put in. It was a twin peak, wasn't it, of Mohamed Salah? If you were to say, what is Mohamed Salah's best year? What's Mohamed Salah's best ever turnout? Someone would argue maybe 2019, 2020, 2021, something like that. Someone else could easily argue last season, and that is partly because of Arne Slot. It is very easy for me to argue that the best we ever saw Mohamed Salah wasn't Jurgen Klopp. It was actually Arne Slot. And I believe that to have done that, Arne Slot is a good man manager. If you look at the way that he redefined Ryan Gravenberch, good man manager. If you look at the way that he's got the best out of Dom Szoboszlai, good man manager. So I don't think he's as good a man manager as Jurgen Klopp, by the way. But I do think that he is capable of turning this around. Just remember, Aston Villa are now one of the most threatening sides in the Premier League. One of the best sides in the Premier League. They had a terrible start, but their good manager, Unai Emery, turned it around. There is no doubt in my mind that Arne Slot can turn it around. The question, though, is can he do it in time? Can he do it in time? It is going so wrong for Liverpool that it is actually blowing my mind quite how out of their depth they are, quite how far removed they are. And when you marry up everything that I've just said there about Liverpool and you marry it up with everything that I'm about to say about Arsenal, it doesn't look good, bruv, is all I can say. If you are hoping that Arsenal do not win the Premier League, as I am, cards on the table, it's very important that we're frank and honest here. Cards on the table. I do not want Arsenal to win the Premier League, but I am already having to rationalise Arsenal winning the Premier League. I'm already having to work out how I can live in a world where Arsenal have won the Premier League. I'm already having to work out how I can saunter through North London, where I work and live, with Arsenal as champions. I haven't had to do that since I was practically a kid. That's the last time I've had to deal with that. And if Arsenal win the European Cup, forget about it. If Arsenal were to go to Budapest and lift European silverware, I'm out of here. No way, Pedro, am I hanging about for that. So part of the reason that we need to focus on Slot here is because I need Slot. I need Slot to insulate me from the horrific possibility and reality that Arsenal are actually going to do it. Look what Arsenal did tonight. Arsenal, they beat Brighton 2-0 and they did it with ease. They did it with a 15-year-old on the pitch. They did it rotating their entire first team. They had Norgard playing. They had Kepa Arrizabalaga playing. They had Ben White playing. They had Mosquera playing. They have done it with their B team. And, of course, Hertzler rotated as well. But Arsenal's B team is incredibly strong. You know, Norgard was Brentford's best player last season. You know, he was their captain. He was scoring goals. He's only in Arsenal's B team. Just for the record here, Eberiche Eze started. Eberiche Eze, a player that, in my opinion, should be playing for England. Lewis Skelly, a player that, in my opinion, should be playing for England. Ben White, a player who I do not like. A player who I actually lack a bit of respect for. But a player who I rate incredibly highly. Ben White is a top-class player. Brilliant footballer. He's starting for Arsenal's B team. Do you know what I mean? As Liam Gallagher once said, he is starting for Arsenal's B team. Kepa Arrizabalaga. I don't rate Arrizabalaga, but he's better than a B-Tech goalie. Do you know what I mean? He's not a B-team goalie. So Arsenal's depth, Arsenal's ruthlessness at the back. Arsenal have yet again rotated their back line and not conceded. There is something very special going on at the Emirates, and it is terrifying. Charlie Knight in the Super Chat says Liverpool got Villa and City. They're going to be 13 points off. And Charlie Knight, goodbye Charlie Bright. Do you remember that film? What a film. What's a film? That's set in the estate I grew up in, you know. If that happens, if they do end up 13 points off, mate, if Liverpool end up 13 points behind Arsenal, that is an insurmountable tally. That is exactly what Jose Mourinho used to do to the chasing pack. He would blow them out of the water so early that they were effectively chasing shadows. Effectively, the title race was never a title race because you knew who was going to win the league. And that is what Mikel Arteta is capable of doing. That is what it looks like Mikel Arteta is going to do this season. He has just set off like a house on fire. He has learned on the way. He has elevated his own performances this season. And that is so impressive. How many times are we going to discuss managers who are not pragmatic? They are not flexible. They are dogmatic in their system. Mikel Arteta this season has reevaluated things. I think he has realised, maybe he didn't realise it at the beginning, but I think he has now deduced that Arsenal are far and away the best team in the country. And he is now going full hammer and tong on that. Mashiri in the Super Chat. Mashari says, Liverpool might come back, but they for sure will finish behind Manchester United. Ruben Amorim is turning into Sir Alex Ferguson with Mourinho attitude. Yeah, we can't do this. Do you know what we can't do, sir? I mean this with all due respect. What we cannot do is call Arne Slot a rubbish manager because he's had a bad 5 games. What we cannot do is call Ruben Amorim a good manager because he's had a good 3 games. Remember, Ruben Amorim is still the manager that couldn't win back-to-back games for a year. Arne Slot is still the champion, and therefore it's important that we all extend an element of courtesy and respect to the man who is currently the champion of England. Arne Slot is making a pig's ear of it at the moment. It is going far more wrong than anyone could have predicted, far more wrong than I could have predicted. But what we cannot do, sir, is somehow reposition it that Ruben Amorim is better. I will agree with you. Oh, lovely cup of Rosie Lee there. I will agree with you that Ruben Amorim is getting a lot right. I will agree with you that Ruben Amorim has surprised me immensely. I will agree with you that Ruben Amorim is moving in the right direction. I will agree with you on many things. That Ruben Amorim is doing things that I didn't think he were capable of. But what we cannot somehow now do is position him as being a top-tier manager. And what we cannot somehow do now is reposition Arne Slot as being out of his depth. I do, however, agree that it is impressive. But Alex Ferguson with Mourinho attitude, are you nuts? This is the beauty of football, isn't it? This is why we're all so tribal about it. This is why I love discussing it with you. And thank you all so much for tuning in. I love this. Honestly, as soon as the results came in, I was like, right, got to get out there, see what everyone's saying. Would you do me a favour, by the way? Could you please like this stream? Massively helps me out if you would be kind enough. And if you are new around here, please click subscribe. Really does help me out. If you would be kind enough to click subscribe. Thank you so much. The Spuddy IRL has donated to the channel. Thank you very much. Joe K says, Arsenal need to play their second 11 all the way, including the final. Their second 11 needs the minutes and playing with pressure. No, sir, Joe, you can't do that. Joe, it's a noble approach. Effectively, what Joe is saying here is kind of contesting what I said. I said that Arsenal don't need this competition, not because I don't rate it. Please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. This competition is glorious. It's historic. It's a day out at Wembley. It's European qualification, and it is silverware. Never sneer at silverware. But the reason that Arsenal specifically, and maybe only Arsenal in the entire country, I would say this about, Arsenal are the only team in the country who do not need this trophy. Everyone else needs it. Chelsea desperately need it. Man City desperately need it. Liverpool now desperately need it. QPR desperately need it. Plymouth desperately need it. Newcastle United desperately need it. Arsenal, and allow me to land this point before you suggest that I'm wrong. Arsenal, I'm going to say it really boldly and then we can explore it together, right? Arsenal would be benefited by going out of this competition in the next round. And the reason that I say that is because the point that Joe has made, where he suggests that they play the second string all the way to the final and in the final, is completely impractical. Joe, I don't believe that can happen. Imagine a world where Arsenal are in a semi-final. You're playing Tottenham Hotspur in a two-legged affair at home and away. Are you honestly telling me that you would rather Declan Rice doesn't play in that game? You are playing Tottenham in a final. Tottenham coming to the Emirates. Tottenham come in, 9,000 of them. 9,000 of their fans. They're going to play their first team. Thomas Frank's going to be up for it. They're going to be desperate to win more silverware off the back of last year's silverware. Tottenham are coming. Tottenham are well up for it. Tottenham are playing their first team. Are you seriously telling me that you think Max Dowman starts that game? You just can't do it. And then let's pretend that you eclipse Tottenham, and you probably would. Let's pretend that you get past Tottenham. It's Guardiola waiting in the final. Or is Chelsea waiting in the final? Are you ready to play us in a final? Imagine losing to Chelsea in a final. You'd be like, why have we done that? We made a mistake when we played you in a final. We could have won a double under Conte. But we won the league. We went nuts winning the league. We didn't prepare properly for the final. You beat us in the final. Mistaken opportunity, and an opportunity that you do not get back. So I would say that you just cannot do that, Joe. J. Dopp in the Super Chat says, the Slot knew he couldn't beat them, so he just tried a ton of new players. Ramsey looked good, but other than that, the formation didn't work. We have to move on. Okay, let's talk about this. And I will appreciate your feedback. This, to me, doesn't make sense. But let's just think about this. Is there a world where Arne Slot has used this fixture to try something out? He's brought Joe Gomez back into the team. Is he effectively experimenting here? He's brought Joe Gomez back into the team and he's gone to 5 at the back. Has he effectively thrown this competition in order to explore? Has he brought in Joe Gomez to see how he can do? Has he put Endo at centre-half to see if he can play there? I mean, Robertson and Kirkes were on the same pitch. That was a weird thing to witness. I just don't think there's any mileage in this. I like the idea of exploring it, J. Dot, but I don't think that he has thrown this game to try something out. I think he has panicked, and I think he's got it wrong. I don't think... Effectively, what you're saying, I think, if I'm reading you correctly, is that you are applying a clever and methodical rationale to what Arne Slot has done here. There is logic to losing 3-0 at home to Crystal Palace. And the logic is, we've tried Joe Gomez at centre-half, in a back 5, and that's what we're going to do when we play Man City. And we're going to be better for it because we've explored it playing up against Eddie Nketiah. Sorry, I don't agree. I think, to be totally frank, I think he's panicked. I think he's rotated. I think he's got it wrong. And, mate, you've been launched out the cup at home. You haven't scored a goal. You've been conceded 3. Like, it's just there is just no positive here. I like the idea of trying to find rationale and logic. I just don't think it exists, J-Dop. Sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and go, my manager got it wrong. I remember going to Middlesbrough when I was young. We went to Middlesbrough. I remember it was Valentine's Day. My girlfriend dumped me. We got beat 3-0 at Riverside. Mark Viduka was unreal. Mourinho got it wrong. It wasn't Mourinho trying something. It wasn't Mourinho who was the best manager in the world at the time. It wasn't Mourinho like, working something out or Mourinho experimenting or Mourinho being clever. It was Mourinho made a pig's ear of it. Tonight, Arne Slot made a pig's ear of it. Not only did Chelsea get battered at the Riverside, but I lost my girlfriend. So, I'll never forgive Jose Mourinho there. The one that got away. And I think that's exactly what's happened to Liverpool tonight. It was just a disaster. The Ian Taylor LFC says, conspiracy theory. Slot knew that he couldn't beat Glasner, so played a weakened side for an excuse. The guy has outcoached him 3 or 4 times now. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's true. I think Arne Slot is a capable manager, mate. A very capable manager. I think Glasner's the governor. I think Glasner's unreal. Glasner is the next cab off the rank, isn't he? The next cab that flies to Bayern Munich. The next cab that flies to Juventus. The next cab that flies to Man United. Oliver Glasner is capable of being that man. He is a sensational manager. But there is absolutely no way that Arne Slot's thrown a game. Like, he just can't have done. I can see a benefit to Liverpool being knocked out of this competition on some level. But you can't lose 3-0 at home to Palace, mate. You just can't. It's an interesting angle, and I do think that he's experimented. Look, that he clearly didn't mind losing the game because he's played such a weakened team. Like Morrison playing and Ramsey playing and whatever. He's played such a weakened team. But I think he got it wrong. My opinion on this is it's a mistake. But let me know what you think, Ian Taylor. The Drin in the Super Chat says, Rory, stop it. We're not winning anything this season. It would be the biggest comeback I have seen. Top 4 at best. Slot's getting sacked at some point. Do you really feel like that? Are you really ready to completely blow it out the water? Everything that you've heard, everything that you've seen from Arne Slot. Look, you're a Liverpool fan, mate. You are far more educated in the history of your club. You know more about it. I'm sure you could talk for hours about the beauty of Roger Hunt. You know the feeling, the passion of the Kop. I don't. I'm an outsider looking in. But I just don't think that I'm ready to say that Arne Slot isn't the man for the job. I just don't think I'm anywhere near that, to be totally frank. Arne Slot, what he did last year was poetry. And he made big decisions. Remember the opening day of the season at Portman Road? He made a big, bold, aggressive decision, statement. Then you look at the way that he redefined Ryan Gravenberch. You didn't get a midfielder. You didn't get a midfielder that you desperately needed. You missed out on midfielders over the years, whether it's Moises Caicedo, Romeo Lavia, Jude Bellingham. You missed out on midfielder after midfielder after midfielder. What did you do? He didn't panic. He managed his way out of a problem. He took a player that was on the periphery of Bayern Munich, not exactly loved by Liverpool, and he made him one of the best players in the world in his position. That is a good manager. Like, non-negotiably a good manager. He made Mohamed Salah the best Mohamed Salah that we have ever seen. And he won the league. I'm just not ready to withdraw an element of courtesy to a man that is that good. But look, like I say, you know more about your club, Drin. You know more. You genuinely telling me here, Drin, that it can't be. You're telling me that Arne Slot's going to be sacked by Liverpool this season. I just can't see it. I really can't see it. Spuddy IRL says Arsenal cruise the Premier League and do the Champions League. He's saying a quadruple. Spuddy is saying it's a quadruple on its way for Arsenal. Now that is something that would be impossible. That is truly impossible. Can I ask you a favour? I'm loving this so much, by the way. Thank you for tuning in. Could you please subscribe to the channel? Massively, massively helps me out. Thank you so much. Back in the Super Chat now. It's Achi who says, Wanyeri, best youngster in the league. Do I agree? I think he is one of the best, one of the best youngsters in the league. He's one of the shining stars of the league, no doubt. I mean, there are some bright sparks about. You've got to remember the last-minute goal that was scored at St James's Park. You think about the last-minute goal that was scored against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. There are some glorious youngsters about. Max Dowman is another youngster that we need to keep an eye on. But yeah, Wanyeri is a truly beautiful footballer. He is a truly beautiful footballer who is clearly capable of playing for Arsenal now. Where I struggle to see where he can get in the team with Bukayo Saka, because I'm not one of those people, and I feel like these people don't really exist anymore. But you know those people that seem to truly believe that that Bukayo Saka is maybe displaceable from that Arsenal team. Like, Bukayo Saka's world class. In my opinion, Bukayo Saka's better than anyone that you can think of. I genuinely believe. You know when people talk about like the Real Madrid wingers, I think Bukayo Saka's better. And if you agree with me on that, Max Dowman cannot get in the team there. He's not going to get in the team at number 10. And I know he's only a kid, but there's no room for him in the team. There's no real room for Wanyeri in the team. And Max Dowman can wait, but I suppose there's a long season. There's a lot of football to be played. And if it goes as Mikel Arteta hopes, and as it's looking like it's going to go, Arsenal are going to play 60 games. So no, I think Nwaneri's a brilliant player, and I think Nwaneri will undoubtedly feature heavily for Arsenal. Do you think Nwaneri goes with England in the summer? Do you think Thomas Tuchel takes Nwaneri? I think he could. I think he most certainly could. Bro, can we talk about Chelsea? Big win tonight. I mean, an incredibly unsurprising win. We're playing the worst team in the league. And I'll tell you what, Wolverhampton Wanderers did not need this competition. Chelsea desperately need it. Wolverhampton Wanderers did not need it. But it ended up being far closer than it should have been. Like, you shouldn't really be 3-0 up at half-time and then lose by one goal, should you? Win by one goal, sorry. 3-0 up at half-time, win 4-3. There is a shakiness at the back that is apparent every single time that we play. But ultimately, we survived the late scare and we're in the last 16. And this is one of the most important competitions for us because this is realistically a competition that we can win. We're not a particularly good team and we don't have a particularly good manager. So what we need to become is an excellent cup team. We need to become a team that can win silverware, make history and be good that way because we just aren't about a league challenge. We aren't a team capable of winning the league. We do not have enough about us. But we can most certainly do some damage in the cup. So that's the direction that we need to be aiming in. But no, a big win in the last 16, which is exactly where we should be and what we should be doing. Adam C says, by the semis, Havertz, Odegaard, Madueke, Jesus will be back. Yeah, I know there's loads of players to come back for Arsenal. I mean, and of the players that you mentioned there, I mean, two of them probably start for you in your best team. Like Martin Odegaard still probably starts for Arsenal in the number 10, doesn't he? Eberechi Eze will have to compete with the likes of Trossard and Martinelli for that position out wide. Martin Odegaard, as the club captain, is still Arsenal's and Arteta's best and most important number 10. Is that fair to say? And if he is, that's going to be one of their best players coming back. I mean, Kai Havertz is probably their best striker. I mean, they're very different, aren't they? You know, they now have the capability of doing both. They now have the capability of having like the sort of battering ram, back to goal, horrible, relentless centre forward in Gyökeres. And when I say horrible, don't start Arsenal fans. Horrible is a good word. Horrible is a positive word. Thierry Henry, horrible. Dennis Bergkamp, horrible. It's a positive thing to be called. Some of my best favourite strikers, Didier Drogba, horrible. Diego Costa, horrible. You want to be a horrible striker. Kai Havertz isn't horrible, but he's more... What word would you use? Silk? He's a silkier striker, a more beautiful striker, a more aesthetically pleasing striker, and overall a better striker. But I guess it's the way that you see it. I guess it's the way that you prefer football. I'm inclined to say that Gyökeres is actually more important to Arsenal, and here's why. Gyökeres does what Arsenal can't do. Arsenal don't have anyone else that can score a goal that is practically a tackle that ends up in the back of the net. No one else does that for Arsenal. So Gyökeres is probably their most important striker, but Kai Havertz is a better footballer than Gyökeres, of course he is. So no, there's a lot of depth. There is a lot of depth to come back for Arsenal, and that is why they are looking so strong. Adam W agrees with me. Arsenal for the quadruple, that is a complete pipe dream. Pipe nightmare, I would say, but yeah, it is. Blah says, absolute disgrace. Arne Slot has got it all so wrong. He's trying to make a simple game complicated. Those contract talks for him better slow down. Arne Slot getting it in the neck. We have heard a lot of people talking about Arne Slot being very derogatory. Not a lot of people are being generous to Arne Slot. And I appreciate why. Today is the first time that I've looked at it and gone, do you know what? If Liverpool had gone out of the Cup and lost on penalties, I honestly don't think that I'd be talking like this at all. If Liverpool had lost 2-1, if Liverpool had lost 1-0, I wouldn't be talking like this. There is a benefit to Liverpool going out of the Cup. On some level, there is a benefit. If you believe that Liverpool can win the league, if you're a Liverpool fan and you're dreaming of winning the league, Liverpool are going to need to, in order to win the league, go on a ludicrously impressive run. Liverpool are going to have to do what? To be in with any shout, they're going to have to win 10 games in a row, 30 points out of the next 30. They're not going to do that. But if they are to do it, they don't need a distraction of a League Cup. When there's a League Cup game, they could just do with putting their feet up. So going out of this game, if they are still dreaming of winning the league, isn't the end of the world. But the manner of it is, you can't go out like that, man. You can't go out with a whimper, an embarrassment. You cannot go out of the Cup in that nature at home. The game finishes 1-1 and you go out on penalties and all the kids are happy, and you know what I mean, you've given some players a bit of a bit of game time. You've rotated the likes of the likes of Ramsey has had a game, and the likes of Endo's had a game, and the likes of Robertson's had a game, and the likes of Morrison's had a game. You go out, you draw 1-1, you do really well, and you are effectively valiant losers. That would be positive. You cannot go out in the way that they have gone out, and I am inclined to agree with you. Where I'm not agreeing with you, though, you're talking there about Arne Slot's contract, suggesting that maybe he doesn't deserve a new one. Now, I kind of agree on some level that you could slow it down, the talks, just to make sure that he can steady the ship. But surely everything that we learned about Arne Slot last year taught us that he is capable of changing the trajectory of a football club, taught us that he is capable of true brilliance. You know, to win the league, you are amazing. And I extend that truth to Kenny Dalglish, to Claudio Ranieri, to Sir Alex Ferguson, to Arsene Wenger, to Jurgen Klopp, to Jose Mourinho, to Antonio Conte, to Carlo Ancelotti. I will forever extend that courtesy. If you win the league, you are a king. And it goes back. Howard Wilkinson with Leeds in the old First Division. If you win the league, you are a king. And that is a fact. Do you know how difficult it is to win the league? Do you know how many managers try and never get there? Too many managers. A lot of managers try and very few succeed. And Arne Slot is one of those that has succeeded. So for that, he deserves a little bit more respect. For that, he deserves the opportunity to actually put this right. But I do now agree with you. That he is desperately getting it wrong. I do now agree with you that things are going massively, massively wrong for him. But I also believe that he is the manager that can resurrect this team. But it's going to take something special. It's going to take something special starting immediately against Aston Villa. Basically, Liverpool have to beat Villa. Non-negotiably, Liverpool have to beat Villa. Then they have to beat Man City. Then they go on an international break. Then they come back from the international break and they have to win again. Just seen Mika in the super chat there. That's right. We need some more girls in here. But yeah, I completely agree that Arne Slot needs to get it right, but he needs to get it right very, very soon. Jessica Drury in the super chat here says, I'm a Palace fan. We're in the Conference League. We have Conference League action in the same week as the quarterfinals. I guess we'll have to let a competition go. Not explicitly. You don't explicitly have to let a competition go. Not like that. You don't explicitly have to say that you're not gonna. I mean, it will depend on the fixtures as well, Jessica. It will depend on who you're playing. You know, if it goes well for you, if the draw is ultimately kind, you know, you could end up in a situation where you have, I don't know, a home tie against a winnable opposition, a home tie against, I don't know, Newcastle. Would you fancy yourselves? They have a distraction of the Champions League as well, you know. So you'll both have something else riding on it. If you're at home, Newcastle have looked beatable. You know, in fact, if you're at home, I feel like you're capable of beating anyone. No, Jessica, I think you can be a bit more ambitious. You know, you can get greedy. You won silverware now. You can get greedy. I don't think you have to let a competition go at all. Also, if you're playing in the Conference League, you will be so much better than 90% of the teams in that competition. Oliver Glasner's the best manager in that competition by a mile. Nah, Jessica, I think you're coming at this all wrong. I think you should be going out there greedy. You want it all. You want it all. The car and the fancy crib. You want a lot. Yeah, I think you can go for it all. I want it all. The car and the fancy crib. I want it all. Baby, that's the way it is. Sam Raffy says, as an Arsenal fan, of course, I don't want to go out, but you are totally right. We don't need the extra games and injuries. Much love, Rory. Sam, I know it's a very unnatural way to look at it. I know it's not the way that we always talk about football. But I will say that realistically, you're not going to win a quadruple, okay? Least controversial thing ever said on this channel, Arsenal will not win a quadruple. No one will ever. You're not going to win a quadruple. So, if you're not going to win a quadruple, you can't win it all. You have to give up on something. Surely this is the one to give up on. The league is the be-all and end-all. Arsenal must win the league. Arsenal simply has to totally focus on the league. Everything else is secondary. I even think, do you agree with me here? Sam, do you agree that everything is secondary? European Cup, secondary. Everything is secondary to the league title. The Premier League title is the be-all and end-all for Arsenal this season. And if you're not going to win a quadruple, and you believe me that you're not going to win a quadruple, you might as well go out something. And there's no point in getting to the quarterfinals, semi-finals. Get out. If you're not going to win it, get out of it. You don't want to be beaten in a final. That's deflating. Just get out early. That would be my approach to this. Noah says, Slot better win on Saturday after rescuing all them players. I'm absolutely fuming, Rory. Who gave him the right to throw that competition? Is it fair to say this? Noah? He has the right to do it if he wins. You can rest players and throw competitions as long as you win the competition that you're resting the players for. What you cannot do, it's actually a recipe for disaster because the fans will get very annoyed. What you cannot do is rest players for a competition and then end up getting beat in that competition as well. So you cannot throw your position in the League Cup, get beat 3-0 at home by Crystal Palace, launch yourselves out rather embarrassingly, and then get beat by Villa. However, what you can do, and I do think this is fair enough, is get yourselves out of the competition and then beat Villa. Beat Villa well. Beat Villa convincingly. Give Villa a taste of Liverpool being back. Maybe announce to the world that Liverpool are back. Maybe use the Villa opportunity. You're coming up against a very good team, in good form, with good experience, a team that should have been in the Champions League, but a European team, and an elite level manager. It's a terrible fixture for Liverpool to have, but looking at it from the positive side, every cloud has a silver lining. Liverpool have an opportunity against Villa. If they get it right, it's a statement win. If they get it right, Arsenal are going to be going, that's a shame. If they get it right, Arsenal will be looking at that Villa game going, that's a game where they could have dropped points. It's seen as being a potential banana skin fixture. It's seen as being a potential disaster fixture. Playing Aston Villa in this form, Unai Emery, if you don't want Liverpool to win the league, you're looking at that fixture going, lovely. If you're a Man United fan and you're fighting for 21, you're looking at that fixture and going, Emery's going to stop them. Emery will put a complete dent in it. So Liverpool have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to flick a V sign at everybody that says that they're over. Slot has an opportunity to flick a V sign at everyone who's saying that he got it wrong in the way that he's set up today. There is an opportunity for a statement. Whether they make that statement or not is very questionable. I really do not know the answer to that. Can I ask you a massive favour? If you're watching this stream and you haven't clicked subscribe, please join the community. Please click subscribe. I would love to welcome you into what we are building here. I love going live like this. Thank you to all of you for tuning in. And please do click subscribe. And give a like to the stream. Do you reckon we could get 1,000 likes live? That'd be a PB. I don't think we've ever been live with 1,000 likes. Back to the super chat now. And it's from Aidan Quirk, who says, Dingle and Kerry champions, Dingle gin for the win. I mean, that's my neck of the woods. That is my neck of the woods. I'm over there soon. I've just booked my flight. Farron 4 or whatever it's called. I'll be over soon, Ada, so I'll let you know. I'll get you a pint of Guinness. DV says, Slot's 4-3-3 clearly doesn't work in the Premier League. He needs to switch up to 3-4-3. Why is he being so stubborn? Well, maybe, DV, we've seen an opportunity for that tonight. The fact that Liverpool brought in Joe Gomez, maybe they're looking to go 3 at the back. They played 5 at the back today. Maybe they are looking to actually shore up the defence. They're conceding too many goals. They don't know how to defend set pieces. He's openly spoken about not knowing how to defend set pieces. They're conceding goals for fun, and the rate at which they're conceding goals is causing them massive problems. Maybe Arne Slot has decided that what they need to do is go 5 at the back, go as solid as possible. You bring Joe Gomez in, you play Joe Gomez alongside Van Dijk, alongside Konate, Kirkes playing in a wing-back position, Frimpong playing in a wing-back position. Suddenly your defence looks so more stable. 3 big dominant centre-halves. Maybe that's what Liverpool need. So you're talking about the lack of pragmatism, the lack of flexibility, being too stubborn. Maybe we have just seen an example of how that is going to go. Maybe we've just seen an example of how that is going to change. Rory, we shouldn't forget it was raining. I do not know what relevance that bears, sir. But it was raining. Charlie Knight says, Salah was trying to get a new contract, not Slot. No. He wasn't. No, it isn't a contract thing. He's just an elite level player. There is no doubt about it. He is an excellent player. But what we do know is that this Liverpool slump goes on, and Slot's team selection gamble, it didn't pay off. So it now has to pay off He now has to get it right against Aston Villa. I mean, this second string team, they were well beaten. They were just well beaten. So the confidence at Liverpool will be now through the roof. And that is the problem with tonight. They had the opportunity to get the conference going. They had the opportunity to get the confidence up. And they didn't do that. It's now, the conversation that we had earlier when I was saying, is it a crisis? Isn't it a crisis? I've just read from Jamie Carragher. Liverpool are in a crisis right now. I was saying, where on the journey to crisis are they? Are they at the blip stage? Are they at the slump stage? Are they at the crisis stage? I was still suggesting that they aren't in a crisis. But Mr. Liverpool himself, Mr. Premier League appearance record holder himself, Jamie Carragher, has said that they are in crisis. And therefore, they are in crisis. That man knows Liverpool inside out. That man knows everything about that club, that team, that city. If he is saying that they are in a crisis, it means that they are in a crisis. And that can only be brilliant news for anyone else dreaming of winning the league. It will all come down to the Villa game. Dropping players, resting players, getting it wrong against Crystal Palace will all come down to the Villa game. It suddenly becomes all right if you beat Villa. Going out of the League Cup, if you beat Villa, is fine. Amar Nail in the Super Chat, how are you, sir? Says, as an Arsenal fan, I'm disappointed. I can't believe we conceded multiple shots on target from Brighton. Arteta out. I did see something like that. I did see something. When Arsenal went 2 games without even conceding a shot on target, they then obviously won again without conceding a goal, but did concede a shot on target. And there was a tweet. It was like, what on earth is going on? This is disgraceful. Someone just had a shot on goal. No, I know. You're excellent. You're so solid at the back. And that can be the foundation for a league title, Amar. I hope you're well. Udayan, how are you, sir? Says, I'm scared Arsenal will soon be walking over teams. I mean, they are already doing that, Udayan. And I am scared as well. But we have to admit that Arsenal are the best team in the country. Whether they win the league, I mean, they certainly should. They certainly look like they will. They're certainly favourites. But whether they actually win it or not is still to be seen. The reason that it's looking so likely that they will is because nobody is putting them under any pressure. Scott in the Super Chat says, Maresca is good. He's not given what he asked for. I would say Maresca is average and he's not given what he asked for. But Maresca's not an elite level manager. Is Maresca in the top 10 managers in the world? Absolutely not. Is he in the top 15? Probably not. Is he in the top 20? Maybe. But we should have a manager in the top 5 in the world, not the top 15. So no, I don't think he's good enough to be Chelsea manager. MK says, City need to build around Cherki now. He's special. No, he's a fantastic player. He is a fantastic player, but I don't think we should be putting the pressure on Cherki, I think if we're talking about who should be sorting it out, apart from Erling Haaland, I think that we should be putting the pressure far more on the likes of Phil Foden. Phil Foden is the player that needs to step up. Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku, they're the players that need to step up and do the business. And Phil Foden in particular. It isn't on Cherki's shoulders. No way. It's not on Reinder's shoulders. No way. They need to contribute. Of course they do. But it's Phil Foden that really does need to elevate his performances to what they were a couple of years ago. Louis Charlton says, where do you see Sunderland finishing in reality? Top half? Yeah, I think top 9. Maybe Europe. Maybe Europe for Sunderland. Brilliant manager. Brilliant manager, brilliant club, great history, great fans. I can see them doing well and I hope they will. Charlie Knight says, Slot only won because of Arsenal and City's problems. No, that's not true. That's not true. He won because he had his own problems. He came in after Jurgen Klopp. Not easy to finish. He came in after Jurgen Klopp. He had no midfield. He had no real transfer window. He had the problems hanging over the club regarding the contracts of Salah, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold. He did an awful lot of good himself, Charlie. Sam Raffley says, yes, 100% focused on the Premier League. I only care about the Premier League. You are completely correct, Sam. Mate, everything you said I completely agree with tonight. Absolutely agree. A. Pezza says, I agree, but never see us not trying for everything. I think you have to prioritise, mate. I really do. I think that you have to prioritise. GMAV says, City are coming. Imagine we got Cherki for 30 million. I don't think that's a problem. Vikram Shreder says, Rory, in your opinion, what side of Liverpool do you think is weak? Offensive, the attack or the defence? I would say, at the moment, all of it. But Liverpool have goals in the team. The problem is that they are conceding far too many. But there is a problem. There is a problem throughout. And Arne Slot needs to sort it out literally now. He literally needs to seek out the answer immediately. I must say, this has been a wonderful live stream. I have loved it. Huge gratitude to all of you for getting involved. Really do appreciate it. Before you go, could you do me a massive favour? Click subscribe. Please click subscribe. I'm going to go in and have a look, see if anyone clicked subscribe now. I've asked this very second. Has anyone clicked subscribe? I'm going to refresh. We're on 199. Anyone? Not one of you. Not one of you. Still on 199. Thank you so much, though, for watching. Before you go, click subscribe. Give a like. Could we get to 1,000 likes? No. It's been emotional. Love you. In a bit. Ta-da.